Alrighty, so in today's video, we are going to be taking a look at the entirety of US-2 from its eastern end in Houlton, Maine, near the Canadian border, all the way to its western extent in the suburbs of Seattle. So we are only going to be covering this massive highway, only going westbound. And so we are going to start here on I-95, just past the Canadian border. And as you can see, that US-2 is the very first exit off of I-95 after we go through United States Customs. After getting off of I-95 on the Cloverleaf, we immediately are ordered to take a right in order to stay on US-2 towards Houlton, and we will meet up with a familiar friend there. And as you can see, after making our right turn, we immediately get a US-2 reassured shield to signify that we are indeed on US-2. And remember that familiar friend I was talking about earlier? Yeah, this is that familiar friend. We are meeting back up with US-1, and I talked about US-1 in my previous highway video, so if you want to check that out, click the link in the description below. And so we're going to stay straight, and we are going to be concurrent with US-1 for only a short bit. And as you can see right here, we get that beautiful, beautiful reassured shield. That is just perfect stuff, Maine. Keep that up. And literally for only like a couple hundred feet, we have to make another right turn in order to stay on our US-1 and US-2 concurrency. And right here we can see that US-2 will be leaving US-1. So in the US-1 video, we would be going straight, but instead we are talking about US-2, so we are going to take a left right here at this intersection. Now here is where I'm going to kind of hit on Maine for a little bit, because you see this mileage sign. It says Smyrna and Island Falls, two kind of small towns in Maine. And one thing that Maine doesn't really put on here is that there's no mention of Bangor here. Like, there is absolutely no mention of Bangor. I mean, I guess if you were to go to Bangor, you would be on 95 instead of 2. But I still think that Bangor should be put on this mileage sign here. I'm going to be skipping ahead a little bit, because all we ever do until this point is just weave around I-95 and kind of stay parallel with it. And right here, we can see that Maine State Route 159 splits off here with US-2, and in order to stay on US-2, we need to take a left. So yeah, for the majority of US-2's tenure in Maine, we kind of do stay parallel with I-95 right here. And as you can see, 2 and 95 are split by a river, and it is called the Penobscot River. And we're going to be skipping ahead to downtown Bangor, and here's what US-2 looks like from downtown Bangor. And as you can see here, US-2 turns into a one-way street over here, so we cannot go straight right here. So we're going to have to take a right, a left, and another right in order to continue going westbound on US-2. And right here, we are concurrent with Maine 100, and we're going to be turning left in order to stay on our US-2 and Maine 100 concurrency. And after that, US-2 will be taking a right shortly to leave Maine 100. And right here is where we will make our right turn. We're going to be meeting US 201 right here in Skowhegan, Maine, and in order to continue, we are going to be turning left, and we're going to be concurring with 201 for only like a couple hundred feet, though. And right here is where we will be splitting off with 201. 2 takes a right, and 201 takes a left, and we will be taking the right. And right here in the town of Mexico, Maine, that's a very interesting name for a town in the state of Maine, because Mexico is very far away from here. So right here, we see that US-2 is going to split off with Maine Route 17, and US-2 stays straight, and that's what we will do, and Maine 17 takes a right. After running parallel with the Androscoggin River, we find that we run into the New Hampshire state line. So we enter New Hampshire and we leave Maine right here. And right here, we can see that this road right here is actually US-3, the next US highway I will cover. And US-3 will be concurrent with us. And yeah, we're going to be concurrent with US-3 right here. And look at that sign. Oh man, this sign right here, it is just beautiful. And right here at this roundabout is where we will leave our US-3 and US-2 concurrency. US-3 will exit off right here, and we will continue on the roundabout for a little bit more until we exit off right here. And in the distance, we see a US-2 reassurance shield right here. And after a short stay in New Hampshire and after crossing a bridge, welcome to Vermont. After meandering our way through some trees, we end up in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and as you can see, we meet up with another one-digit U.S. highway. In this case, it is US 5, and so we are going to take a left to join southbound US 5. And yeah, we are only concurrent with US 5 for only a couple hundred feet. And right here at this next intersection where the stop sign is, US 2 will be leaving US 5 and US 2 will be taking a right as indicated by this sign right here. And right here at this sign, Vermont doesn't really do that good of a job of telling us where to turn to stay on US 2, and in this case, we will be taking a left in order to stay on US 2. And in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, we took a left, a right, another left, and now right here we are going to be taking another right in order to stay on US 2. Finally, right here, we meet up with another interstate highway that isn't I 95. We meet up with I 91 right here. I 91 north, you'd take this ramp, and I 91 south, you'd go a little further and take a cloverleaf in order to get there. And right here is what US 2 looks like in the outskirts of Vermont's capital city, Montpelier. And as you can see, we are going to eventually be meeting up with I 89 a couple times, and we will be running parallel with I 89. After taking a right, crossing a bridge, and taking a left, we meet up with, not necessarily meet up with, but we run under I 89 right here. Yeah, basically right here we are basically I-89's frontage road. Right here with this interchange with I-89, we see that US 2 is signed for Burlington, which is the right choice. I would totally do that. I would totally put that. And we see that I-89 South is signed for Montpelier, which, funny enough, US 2 was just in Montpelier. So that's pretty funny. And I-89 North is signed for Winooski and St. Albans. And personally, for me, I would put Canada there. But if you had to sign like something in Vermont, then St. Albans is okay. As you can see here to my right, we have the campus of the University of Vermont Catamounts. We met with 3. We met with 5. And right here, we are meeting up with yet another one-digit odd-numbered U.S. highway. And in this case, it is US 7. And right here, we will be taking a right, and we are going to be concurrent with US 7. Ah, those reassurance shields. They're just so dang beautiful. And right here, we take a right to stay on our US 2 and 7 concurrency. And right here in downtown Winooski, we see that we enter a roundabout. We enter like an oval-shaped roundabout, and we cannot go straight here, so that's why this roundabout is in place. So we have to continue to go around this roundabout, and we exit off right there. And right here is where we will leave our US 2 and US 7 concurrency. US 2 will take a left right here, and US 7 will go straight. So we shall take a left. After crossing several bridges and meandering our way through islands and peninsulas on Lake Champlain, we cross the New York state border, and so we are entering the state of New York and leaving Vermont. And right here is that Welcome to New York sign. And right here is where the eastern section of US-2 ends. It ends on US-11. And right here is where US-2 resumes. It resumes at exit 344B off of I-75 in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And right here is where we will be exiting off of I-75. And after we get off, we see a US-2 West reassurance shield. And here is where US-2 starts to get really real. You see, we got great views of Lake Michigan down below. And I've actually been on this road multiple times, being from Michigan myself. I've taken this portion of US-2 when we were on our way to a little cabin in the Upper Peninsula, right where my mom was raised when she was a child. And I also just have to shout this view out because this is some of the best views that you will ever find on US-2's western portion. Skipping ahead a little bit, we find that we are concurrent with US-41, which is one of my favorite highways and a highway that I really would like to drive one day. US-41 goes from Copper Harbor all the way up in the tip of the Upper Peninsula, all the way down to Miami, Florida. It's a really grand highway, and a highway that I definitely will get to pretty soon. We meet up with M35 in Gladstone, and we follow it all the way into this intersection in the heart of Escanaba. And so, to stay on US-2 and 41, we take a right at this intersection. So that's what we shall do. And right here at this intersection ends the portion of US-2 that I'm on personally multiple times. And as you can see, US-2 leaves us. US-2 turns right, whereas US-41 just continues straight. And so we will turn right to stay on US-2. Right here in Norway, Michigan, we meet the eastern end of US 8. So if we were to begin going on US 8, we take a left up here. But since we're on US 2, we are going to continue straight. But it's interesting that US 8 ends at US 2. And right here, we pick up US 141. So we will be concurrent with northbound 141 right here. And here is what US-2 looks like in the heart of Iron Mountain. I always would like to visit Iron Mountain one day. It looks like a pretty nifty town. And right here, after crossing this bridge, we enter Wisconsin. So we enter Wisconsin briefly before going back into Michigan. And after crossing this bridge, we leave Wisconsin and come back into Michigan. And finally, after what seemed like forever, 141 will be leaving us. 141 will be turning right, whereas we will continue straight. Michigan doesn't really do that good of a job addressing this intersection, but what this intersection is it's the meeting of US-2 and US-45. US-45 northbound you turn right, southbound you turn left, but we are going to continue straight on US-2. US-45 is another highway that I would like to drive down one day. And right here, near the Michigan-Wisconsin border, US-2 meets up with US-51, and I really like this design that Wisconsin does. US-51, left lane. US-2, right lane. Very simple. I like it. And right here we get the classic wooden Wisconsin welcome sign. Skipping ahead a bit, and we are going to merge with US-53 northbound up here. So when we merge onto US 53, we enter kind of a hybrid of a freeway and a divided highway. Because as you can see here, we have a Michigan style left turn right here. And also we see in the distance those US 2 and US 53 reassurance shields. And right here in Superior, Wisconsin, we end the freeway section and we merge into just a regular surface street right here. Right here is where US-2 and US-53 will split off. So US-2 will take a left at this intersection, and US-53 will continue going straight. And so we will take a left. And here is what US-2 looks like in downtown Superior. Right here, after crossing this bridge, we meet up with I-35, and by the looks of this sign, we are going to join the southbound lanes of I-35. And as you can see right here, we have crossed the border and we are now entering Minnesota. And right here, we will make our left turn right here and join the southbound lanes of I-35 in the heart of Duluth. And as you can see here, we get our I-35 and US-2 reassurance shields to reassure that we are continuing on US-2. And right here, we will be getting off of I-35. I-35 is signed for St. Paul and Minneapolis, which is the right choice. I would totally do that. And we see that US-2 is signed for Proctor and Grand Rapids. That's kind of weird because I'm from Michigan and Grand Rapids is a big city in Michigan. And so to see a sign that says Grand Rapids here kind of tricks me out, but I get it. There's like a town in Minnesota that's called Grand Rapids, so I guess that's okay. So this street view isn't exactly up to date. As you can see, it's from 2012, and yeah, there is a roundabout here instead of just a normal intersection. So in order to stay on US-2, you'd get onto the roundabout and take the third exit and get off right here and continue on US-2 where my cursor is right on that road. Right here in the outskirts, or I shouldn't say outskirts, but in the heart of Grand Rapids, Minnesota, we have to take a left in order to stay on US-2. And as you can see by this sign, we will be joining up with the southbound traffic of US-169. And right here is where US-169 will leave us. 169 will take a left to continue going south, and US-2 will continue going west straight ahead. Right here in Bemidji, Minnesota, we see that US-2 becomes a hybrid of a divided highway slash freeway, and we will eventually be meeting and joining up with US-71. Right here is where US-71 will merge with us. So this lane right here is US-71, and it will be joining us up ahead. Just a little further up the road, we finally get our US-2 and US-71 reassurance shields. And right here is where US-71 will exit us. US-71 continues north towards International Falls and Bemidji, and we will continue straight towards Crookston. We are going to be meeting US-59 right here in this interchange and not an intersection because US-2 is a freeway here, and US-59 is signed for Monument and Thief River Falls. Correct me if I'm pronouncing Monument wrong. And once we get into downtown Crookston, US-2 stops being a freeway and instead becomes a regular surface street. And right here, in order to stay on US-2, we have to take a right here at this intersection. So that's what we shall do. And just outside of Crookston, we meet up with US-75. And US-75 has already been covered by Control City Freak. So just a shout out for Control City Freak for covering US-75. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So US-75 northbound will be turning here, and we will join the southbound traffic of US-75. And not shortly after, US-75 will be leaving us. So right here, US-75 will take a left right here and go through the eastbound traffic and continue on this road, whereas we will continue straight to stay on US-2. As you can see here, we see a North Dakota welcome sign. So we are going to cross this bridge and cross into North Dakota and the city of Grand Forks. Where we will be meeting with I-29 soon. And right here is where we will be meeting up with I-29, and we see that I-29 northbound is signed for Winnipeg. So The US actually signs a Canadian city within its own borders here, which is awesome. This is definitely the right choice. Good job, North Dakota. And I-29 southbound is signed for Fargo, which is also the right choice. So great job, North Dakota. Great signage here. 281 meets us here, and we will join the southbound traffic of US 281. We will be concurrent with that. Also, not shortly after, US 281 will leave us. US 281 will take a left right here, and as you can see, it continues down this road as indicated by that reassurance shield right there, and we will continue straight to stay on US 2. And as you can see, we also get a US 2 reassurance shield right there. Right here, we meet up with Control City Freak's best friend, US 52. So, US 52 will merge on with us right here, and we will be concurrent with US 52. And right here is where US 2 and US 52 will split off. 52 will exit off here, and we will continue to follow this curve to stay on US 2. Right here, US 2 will make a curve going to the south now, and we will join up with US 85. So we will be concurrent with the southbound traffic of US 85 right here after this curve. Right here, US 85 will split off with us. US 85 will take a right and continue going westbound, and we will continue going southbound on US 2, which is weird because US 2 is an east west highway, yet here it's going straight and going south. But US 85, which is an odd number, turns here and goes west. So US 85 will leave us. It turns right and goes west, and we just meet back up with it, which is kind of interesting that we intersect this highway multiple times on the outskirts of Williston. After going down US 2 for several miles, we meet up with Montana. So we cross the border and we entered the state of Montana. Also, this road is called the Theodore Roosevelt Expressway. Why would you call it an expressway when it's only 2 lanes wide? Come on, Montana. Come on now. And right here is where US 2 starts to become like really rural and really secluded from any major city or any major town. Yeah, there really isn't that much of US 2 to show in Montana because of how rural and just kind of plain it is. So here's kind of a look at what US 2 looks like in the heart of Glasgow, Montana. Right here, we meet up with another US highway. In this case, it is US 191, so we will be concurrent with the northbound lane, with the northbound traffic of US 191 straight ahead. And right here is where 191 will leave us. 191 will take a right where we will continue straight towards Harv. And here is what US 2 looks like in downtown Harv. We're going to be meeting US 87 here, so US 87 will take a left right here at this intersection, and we do not become concurrent with the northbound traffic of 87 because 87 actually ends right here. Skipping ahead, and we meet with I-15, the Great I-15. We see the I-15 sign south for Great Falls, which I definitely like. I definitely think that that's the right choice. And we see that it's signed for north for Lethbridge. Lethbridge? If you're going to sign a Canadian city, sign Calgary, not Lethbridge. Lethbridge is kind of a small city. Just sign Calgary instead. As you can see by these reassurance shields, we meet up with US 89. So that completes it. We have met up with I-89 and now US 89. And we are going to be concurrent with US 89 for a couple of miles before splitting off. And right here at this roundabout is where US 2 and US 89 split off. US 2 will exit this roundabout at in the third exit, so right here, and US 89 will continue going straight through the roundabout, and so we will take the third exit to stay on our journey. Right here in East Glacier Park, Montana, is where we exit plain terrain and we enter the Rocky Mountains. And yeah, this is what the majority of US-2 is going to look like during its tenure in the Rockies. Right here, US-2 will take a left and continue its journey. If we were to go straight, then we were to be on Montana Route 40 instead of US-2. So we will take a left right here. Right here, we meet up with US-93. So we don't join US-93, but we intersect it. US-93 north would turn right, and US-93 south would turn left, and we are going to continue straight. Right here, we cross the Montana state border, and we are into Idaho. So we leave Montana and we enter Idaho right here. Right here in Bonners Ferry, Idaho, we join US 95. So we will take a left to join the southbound traffic of US 95 right here. And we will be splitting off of US 95 right here. With this exit, we will exit off of US 95. US 95 will go to Coeur d'Alene and Spokane, where we will continue west for Kootenai, Clark Fork, and Sandpoint. Just after we exit, we see that US-2 reassurance shield. Skipping ahead a little bit, and we see that we enter our last state in our journey. We enter the state of Washington, and we enter the city of Newport, Washington, up ahead. Immediately after crossing the border, we take a left in order to stay on US-2. So Washington is already throwing some turns at us. We take a left right here. We are going to be meeting 395 here, and we're going to be joined with future 395, or I think this is already signed as 395. And so 395 south exits here, and we see that we continue going straight right here, and we are going to meet I-90 in the heart of Spokane. Right here in Spokane, US-2 meets with 395's old route. After what seemed like forever ago, we are finally going to be meeting with another interstate, and in this case, we are actually going to be joining an interstate. So we are going to be joining I-90's westbound traffic right here. And here's what it looks like once we are concurrent with I-90. Right here, US-2 will exit off of I-90, so we will exit off right here towards Spokane Airport and Davenport. Here in Washington, we get another incredible view from US-2. It's not as incredible as the views we got back in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, no bias, but this definitely gives it some heck of a competition. We're going to be meeting US 97, and we are going to merge with the southbound traffic of US 97. 97 North would turn right here, and we are going to be turning left towards Wenatchee. And once again, Washington has decided to bless us with more amazing views. Throughout our US-2 and 97 concurrency, we basically hug the Columbia River. Right here, we are going to take a right to continue on our US-2 and 97 concurrency. And if we were to go straight, we end up on Washington Highway 28. So we are going to take a right. Right here is where US 97 will leave us. So we will continue straight. US 97 exits off right here. And we see that we are signed for Leavenworth, Stevens Pass, and Seattle. So great signage there to sign Seattle at the bottom line. And here is what US-2 looks like in Stevens Pass. And here is what Stevens Pass looks like once there's a lot of snow on the ground. Right here is the entrance to Stevens Pass. So Stevens Pass is actually a ski and snowboard resort. Right here is where US-2 starts to get a little weird. You see that US-2 actually has exits, kind of like a freeway would, but the road is only 2 lanes wide, and there's not really a barrier that separates the 2 lanes. That kind of gives me a little bit of I-93 vibes. And just right about here is where we begin the home stretch of US-2. We are entering the final few miles. of US-2 before it ends at I-5 in Everett. And just after this curve, US-2 enters its home stretch. And right here in Everett, we cross this bridge, and it is the last bridge we cross before the I-5 interchange. And right here is where US-2 finally ends. US-2 ends right here at this interchange with I-5. We have our two choices of where to go. We see that I-5 South is signed for Seattle, and I-5 North is signed for Vancouver. So US-2 actually doesn't actually end at the I-5 interchange, but it ends right here at this intersection with Maple Street. If we were to continue straight, then it becomes California Street in Everett. So that about does it for today's video. I hope you definitely liked it, and I hope that you enjoyed what I showed with US-2. And my next video will be with US-3, so stay tuned for that.